Alistair Scott.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I rise in support of this bill alongside many others in the House, the bill, the Hawke's Bay Regional Planning Committee Bill. Mr Speaker, I support this bill for a number of reasons. This bill formalises the deed of settlement that was signed in 17 December 2010. So it ensures that the committee that we've talked about already is guaranteed not to be dissolved, which currently today the Council, the Regional Council, does have the ability to do so. So this formalises the role of that committee. And I support the makeup of the committee as well, Mr Speaker. Tangata Whenua has a unique position in our community, in the catchment that we're talking about in the Hawke's Bay, and it is only right that the Tangata Whenua contribute an equal number to this committee on the natural resource planning issues. Mr Speaker, I hear what the previous speaker talked about as far as representation, and also the Mika Whaitiri also talked about representation. And we know that in all situations, in all committees, in all groups, and all subcommittees, even in select committees, we can't all be heard all the time. We can't please all the people all the time. But it's important that we're included, that there is collaboration, and that there is listening, which I think was the point that was made earlier, Mr Speaker. I also appreciate this and support this bill, sir, because it talks about the Hawke's Bay region, the regional planning involved in the Hawke's Bay. It doesn't talk about the Napier planning or the Tukituk electorate planning or the Central Hawke's Bay planning. It talks about the region's plan, and it works with the Regional Council. And although Mr Nash has always talked about amalgamation as being a bad thing, I take the opposite view. And it's a view that I share with my colleague Minister Foss, that the Hawke's Bay should be united. So it should be united as this committee relates to the region. So this committee will look at all things in the Hawke's Bay. It will not prejudice Napier or prejudge Tukituk or Central Hawke's Bay. It will take the place as a whole. And that's an important, very important, and in hindsight, very interesting angle that it's taken, because it could have taken a much narrower and exclusive view of the role of this committee. Mr Speaker, it's also important, this bill is also important because it talks about natural resources, and we've got a big project in the Hawke's Bay, or in Central Hawke's Bay, in the Hawke's Bay, not the Hawke's Bay, Mr Nash, which relates to the Ruataniwha Dam. And again, Mr Nash was a little ambivalent around whether he supported that project or not. And I say categorically that I do support this infrastructure project, because it will create jobs, it will improve productivity, and it will increase exports out of the Bay. And this is where this committee can contribute, and does, and I'm sure has contributed to the debate that has been going on around the Ruataniwha Dam and the effects that it has on the waterways. And so I see the Tangata Whenua input into this committee, the committee input into the regional plan dictating or governing the issue around the Ruataniwha Dam as being inclusive and collaborative and necessary, so that the community does buy in, to the water quality, because that's what we're talking about at the end of the day. The quality of the aquifer, mentioned by a member in New Zealand First, and the quality of our waterways above ground and below ground. So I encourage people, and it has been a pretty vicious and a strong debate around the issues of water. We talk about the ownership of water, that's been on the table. The Prime Minister has said categorically that no one will own water, and I support that. And Mr Speaker, for a number of reasons, a number of threads that are in the domain, in the public domain at the moment, this bill, despite the fact that it's been ongoing since the deed has been signed in December 2010, has managed to, the timing of it is quite unique, if you like, in that it draws all those things that are on the table together today in the second reading. Mr. Speaker, I commend this bill to the House.
And I understand this is a split call.